Hello fellas. Welcome back to Top 5 Choices. This is Haley from Top 5 Choices, and I hope you all are doing good. In today's video, I'm gonna do a detailed review and pick the top 5 best 14-inch laptops, 2022. After doing proper researches, we came to the conclusion that meets the best in terms of overall. Kindly leave a like if you find this helpful, and I'd appreciate if you subscribe to my channel and turn on post notifications if you haven't. We will be also providing affiliates link to purchase from Amazon. Kindly use it for best offers and purchase from anywhere in the world. We'll be back with more videos. The Laptop Studio's top half is only a little bit thicker than a normal laptop lid, but otherwise is completely normal when using it as a typical laptop. The main hinge is stiff and doesn't wobble, a common problem with Microsoft's older Surface Book design, but you can still open it with one finger easily. The magnesium and aluminum chassis is sturdy and well made, with nary a flex to be found. The Laptop Studio's design is also sturdier feeling and more stable than the typical convertible laptop with a 360-degree hinge. It has options for more powerful components than you typically find in a convertible laptop or Microsoft's own thin and light Surface Pro 8, as well. The screen is a 14.4-inch touch display, with 2400 by 1600 pixels and a 120 Hz refresh rate. It's bright and color accurate, just like other Surface displays, and it's large enough to comfortably split the screen between multiple windows using Windows 11's new Snap layouts. The 120 Hz refresh rate provides much smoother scrolling with the cursor, better touch interactions, and reduced latency with pen input. The Surface Signature 3:2 aspect ratio makes working with documents and browsing websites more comfortable, but it also gives the Laptop Studio a footprint that's almost as big as a 15-inch laptop. At over 4 pounds and 0.7 inches thick, this isn't exactly an ultra-portable laptop, but it's not a huge chore to lug around either. Pulling the screen forward is a bit awkward. You have to reach up and bend the top half backward until the magnets holding the bottom half in place release, and then you can bring it closer to you. You can then park it halfway across the deck, tenting it above the keyboard, but still providing access to the trackpad. Magnets in the deck grab the edge of the screen to lock it in place. I struggled to find a good use case for this mode other than watching movies on an airplane tray table or poking around on the touchscreen, as the angle of the display is still too vertical to comfortably write on it with a pen. From the tent position, you can then lift the screen up and flatten it down entirely, turning the computer into an awkward and heavy tablet. The ThinkPad X1 Carbon has the classic raven black, rectangular ThinkPad aesthetic we've come to expect from Lenovo over the years. The lightweight chassis is made from a combination of magnesium and carbon fiber, with a nice, soft touch feel on the palm rest. There's an optional carbon fiber weave lid that gives the laptop an added touch of class and a softer texture, but it only comes on configurations that have a 3840 by 2400 display. There are a few subtle, but important, design changes from the Gen 8 version of the ThinkPad X1 Carbon. The chassis is a little bit longer and narrower, 12.38 by 8.72 inches versus 12.7 by 8.5 inches, in order to accommodate a 16:10 aspect ratio screen as opposed to the 16:9 panels Carbons have used previously. This allows for more vertical screen real estate you can use for reading web pages or editing documents. The dual hinges from Gen 8 have been replaced by one long, round hinge that takes up most of the width of the lid. And, in a welcome change, the power button now sits above the right side of the keyboard, where we would expect it. Though most laptops have their power buttons above the keyboard, Lenovo had placed the 8X1 Carbon, Gen 8's button on the side so that users could easily turn it on even if the lid was closed and it was connected to a docking station. However, the button was small, skimpy and awkward in that location. At 12.38 by 8.72 by 0.59 inches and 2.5 pounds, the Lenovo ThinkPad X1 Carbon, Gen 9, is extremely thin and light for any laptop, particularly one with a 14-inch display. By comparison, the Dell XPS 13, 2.8 pounds/11.6 by 7.8 by 0.6 inches, is smaller but heavier, while the Asus ZenBook 13, 11.97 by 7.99 by 0.55 inches, 2.5 pounds, is smaller with the same weight. The ThinkPad X1 Nano, 2 pounds/12.7 by 8.5 by 0.6 inches, is much more portable but, like Dell and Asus offerings, has only a 13-inch display. The Blade 14's thin chassis is made from a block of CNC aluminum with an anodized finish for extra durability. A large, bright, backlit green RAZER logo and green USB ports ensure you'll feel like you're using a RAZER product. The RAZER logo has a hard enough time looking classy, but glowing in neon green on an otherwise stark, expensive laptop lid makes it even more out of place. The Blade 14's overall look remains subdued though, especially compared to rivals. You can break up the PC's barren deck with the perky RGB keyboard, which can be quite brilliant and colorful when given the chance to pop among the laptop's simpler design. Frustratingly, keeping either the desk or, especially, the lid fingerprint and smudge-free is a task for Sisyphus. RAZER manages to cram a full range of ports on the Blade 14, despite its lean build. It features a 3.5mm headphone/mic jack, USB Type-A and USB-C, both 3.2 Gen 2, on the left side. The USB-C port handily serves as DisplayPort 1.4, which makes it easy to attach your best gaming monitor up to 240 Hz and can charge devices with power delivery 3.0 up to 100 W. That includes the Blade 14 itself, which can charge over USB-C with a 20V USB-C laptop charger. See our best USB-C laptop chargers rundown for recommendations. The laptop's left side is also where you'll attach the Blade 14's proprietary charger, which is cleverly toward the north of the deck and has an angled connector that'll keep the cable out of your way for the most part. On the right side of the Blade 14's deck are another pair of USB-A and USB-C ports and an HDMI 2.1 port. Ultimately, the I/O covers all bases. The laptop also includes a Kensington security slot. One of the Blade 14's biggest assets is its small build, especially for a gaming laptop. Despite packing a discrete mobile GPU, this is a still rather thin and light notebook. It's just 0.66 inches thick and measures 12.58 across x 8.66 inches deep. That's all in an approximately 3.92-pound package. The HP Spectre X36014 arrives with a brushed metal design that's available in several color combinations. The 360-degree hinge, which allows the screen to flip back completely, turning the HP Spectre X360 into a tablet-like device, feels solid and reliable. The right-hand side is engraved with the word Spectre, a nice touch that further cements the HP Spectre X360's overall premium feel. In terms of connections, you get an audio in jack and full-size USB port on the right. The inclusion of a full-size USB port is a nice touch for such a thin and light laptop, plus 2 USB-C ports, a microSD port and a physical webcam kill switch on the left. The latter allows you to turn off the webcam when it isn't in use. It's a great feature for people concerned about their privacy. It's definitely a big selling point, and that, along with the full-size USB port and microSD slot, showed that it is possible for a thin and light laptop to incorporate multiple connections without compromising design. It certainly puts the 2 USB-C ports of the MacBook Air, M1, 2020, and MacBook Pro 13-inch to shame. Open up the HP Spectre X360 and you're presented with a bright and vibrant screen, surrounded by extremely thin bezels. This gives the device a modern look, while keeping the overall size of the laptop down. It's another case of a Windows 10 laptop looking more stylish than an Apple MacBook, something both HP and Intel will be pleased to learn, and is yet another reason for Apple to consider updating its MacBook designs. The keyboard is large and enjoyable to use, with the keys offering decent travel. They're also backlit, so you can comfortably use them in the dark. The touchpad is nice and responsive. It's wider than you'd expect on a 13-inch laptop, providing a bit more room to move your fingers. There's also a fingerprint scanner to the right of the touchpad for logging into Windows 10. Similar to HP's provision of ports, the company has found a way of cramming a large keyboard and trackpad into a small body. It's a seriously impressive design feat, and means the HP Spectre X360 doesn't only look good, it feels good to use as well. The biggest news is that there's now a 14-inch MacBook Pro. It isn't physically much larger than the previous 13-inch model, thanks to a taller screen with narrower borders. It's available in silver and space gray, no festive colors for Pro models, it seems. The brushed metal texture of previous models remains, and the Apple logo on the lid is mirrored, but not illuminated. In profile, the new MacBook Pro actually looks a bit retro, with raised feet, flat sides, and almost no curve to the edges of the lid. The lid can be raised easily and the hinge feels very firm, but one ergonomic issue is the sharp corners of the little lip provided for your thumb. Build quality overall is very good, and there's no flex at all to the lid. What many people will appreciate is the return of various ports, most notably MagSafe for charging. This is a new, thinner connector that Apple calls MagSafe 3, and neither chargers nor MacBooks themselves are physically compatible with older models. You can still use Type-C ports to charge the new MacBook Pro, but MagSafe will be quicker, depending on the wattage of your power adapter. The thunk sound as the connector snaps into place is familiar and satisfying. As convenient as universal Type-C charging is, having MagSafe in addition is the best of both worlds. This is our first experience with Apple's M1 Pro SoC, which promises even more power than the M1 from last year's 13-inch MacBook Pro refresh. Apple is drawing new lines between its Pro laptops and the MacBook Air, or just MacBook, as it might be called. The M1 Pro leverages the same architecture as the M1 and is built on the same 5nm process. Instead of 4 high-performance and 4 efficiency cores, there are now 6 or 8 of the former and only 2 of the latter. The GPU core count is also up from 7 or 8 to 14 or 16.